What's up, plant family? Thought I'd get a little bit dressed up to plant one of my favorite and most elegant bulbs around. That is the Calla Lily Bulbs. I love these. They're perfect packages of flower, power, and loveliness wrapped in this little package. So I wanted to show you guys how to get these planted so that you can get the best flowering possible with the quickest flowers and enjoy those gorgeous flute-shaped flowers and the sword-like leaves all summer long. So the first thing that we want to consider is the timing. This is a warm, it's not a cold hardy plant that needs warm weather to thrive. That being said, this is a plant that we like to plant in the springtime, preparing for the summertime. They're very best when you plant them and the nights outside are remaining above 50 degrees. They need to be in weather outdoors that is at least 50 degrees at nighttime. So the first thing that you can do, you can think about, do you want to plant them in the ground or do you want to plant them in a container like I have? I like planting them in containers because I think they're super versatile. You can move the containers to your patio table. You can bring them inside if you're having a special dinner. I think it's super versatile and super beautiful when grown in elegant containers like this terracotta. So here is the bulb. Let's look closely at this bulb. You can see that there's two sides to the Calla Lily bulbs. This side that has the bumps, and then you have the side that is much more rounded. Now, those bumps that I was showing you right here, these are what are considered eyes. The more eyes that your bulbs have, the better growth you're going to have from your bulb that first year. The eyes are the growth points where the growth will actually come out. So we want to place the eyes in the container or in the ground facing upwards. The eyes go to the sky, all right? Remember that. So now that you have now that you've decided where you want to plant them, containers or in the ground, they only need to be planted about 3 to 4 inches deep underneath the soil. So I placed a little bit of soil here in my container already. I left about this 4-inch gap. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my bulb and I'm just going to nestle them in just like this. Now a container, this is I think an 8-inch container, and I'm going to put 3 of these Calla Lily bulbs clustered in here together, just like this. Out in the garden, you can give them up to 6 inches of space, but I kind of like to have them close so that they're growing amongst each other. The colors are so fantastic. Having a few different colors blooming next to one another is a beautiful display. Now that you have them placed in just like this, we're going to top it up with another 3 to 4 inches of soil like I was just explaining. So I am using a bagged potting mix. This is just an average generic potting mix. You get it at your box stores. It comes in a yellow bag, and this is everything and more that we could ask for. It is the perfect potting mix to plant your Calla Lilies in. It's nice and fluffy and loose. All right, so now that you've covered it with that additional 3 to 4 inches of soil, we're gonna give it a nice water. Now the water mixed with the warm temperature of being outside are what are going to activate your bulbs to start growing. So you wanna ensure that your bulbs get moistened, but you don't want it to be a sopping mess of muddy soil for a long period of time. All right, you can see it's nice and moistened. I'm probably not going to water this again for another 10 days. They don't need to stay super moist while they are still kind of initiating their growth. Once they have their foliage, you'll be able to water them much more regularly, just like all the other plants in your outdoor garden in the summertime. So now that I have my container of Calla Lilies planted, I'm gonna go place it outside. If you live in a warm climate, say Charleston or south of Washington, D.C., give it an area where it's gonna get morning sunlight and afternoon shade. That's perfect amount of sunlight. If you live in a cooler climate, such as Boston or Minneapolis, place this in a location where it's gonna get pretty much full sunlight right from the get-go. All right, I'm gonna go place my container outside and we'll revisit it once we start to see some beautiful growth popping out of the top of that soil. I'll catch you soon. Check this out. The callas have already started to sprout. It has been literally only 3 weeks since I planted these. I've been keeping this outside on my deck where it gets nice sun all morning long and the temperatures have been pretty warm. Nights only get down to around 50 degrees or so. And I've been keeping it just a little bit moist, especially as they start to sprout. I want to make sure that it stays moist but not super sopping wet. So I've been watering it once every, I don't know, 3 days or so. That combination of the warm air temperatures, which allow the soil to stay warm, the bright sun, and not allowing them to dry out for a prolonged period of time. Those are the keys to success. And once these start to grow a little bit more, I'm going to give it its first application of fertilizer. So that's typically around a month after you plant them, then you can start to use your fertilizer. Dun, da, 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 flowers! Yes, my calla lilies have bloomed. The very first flower, this beautiful white one with this gorgeous pink kind of picotee edge, opened up after 39 days from the day I planted exactly. And I planted a couple different bulbs in here. So I'm also getting a nice yellow one opening up over here, and I'm waiting to see what this third bulb will produce, but hopefully it opens up quickly soon so they can all be in bloom together. So 39 days from the day I planted these, they started to bloom. That's fast. Under 40 days from bulb to flower. That is a winning plant, if you ask me. Oh, do you want to see a close-up of this flower before I provide any more details on my growing experience? All right, let's do it. Look how delicate that white is. You can see that eye down there, nice and maroon with that perfectly pink edging. And then this really striking yellow flower. Looks like it's also going to have a nice deep maroon kind of center. What a stunning plant this is turning out to be. All right, so just to recap, some of the cultural care that I have given this plant to acquire flowers in under 40 days. All right, so we remember we plant the bulb about 4 inches deep. So one thing that was really crazy on one of my other plants that I had started at the very same time was I actually saw roots coming up out of the top of the soil, which was a little bit unnerving for me at first, but I let it be and it's a-okay, doing just fine. So if you do find that there's like little white roots that kind of are surfacing at the top, don't worry about them. You can cover them with a little bit of extra soil just to cover them up, keep them underneath the surface of the soil. And actually I would, you can definitely do that, or just let them be and they'll be fine as is. So to recap some of what I ensured that this plant got right from the beginning, all right, planted it out 4 inches deep, plant it out, you put it outside. It needs the warmth. It needs to have soil temperatures that are warm consistently in order to achieve that growth rapidly. Like I had showed, after 21 days, I had the first growth. So it needs to have warm soil. You get warm soil by having days that are warm with nights that don't get too cool. So keeping that soil temperature above like 45, 50 degrees is very, very important. Getting good sunlight, early morning sun if you live in a very warm region. If you live in a cooler region, all day sun is great. And then in terms of watering, this is a plant where I keep it just about like slightly moistened all the time. Once you see that growth peeking up out of the surface of the soil, I really never let it go like super dry like you would some of your other maybe succulents or dusty millers, lavenders, other things like that out in the garden, which can handle being quite dry at times. This one I let remain slightly moistened pretty much all the time, and that just helps create really even keel growth. And then, like I had been mentioning, when the first leaves were starting to peak up, I started to use my fertilizer. I used my family's Roberta's Bounty fertilizer. It's super easy to use. Dissolve it in water, and then you just water your plant like with your watering pail like you would normally water. Very easy to use, and I use this about once every 10 days, and it's really, done the trick, done what it needed to do. It fulfilled its duties. We like things that fulfill their duties, like this calla lily bringing beautiful flowers fast. So this is a plant which I have more growing. I'm going to be growing even more. It's definitely going to be a plant that I will be having around the house as much as possible. I'm excited to see how long this will actually be in bloom for. So maybe I'll make an updated video later on in a few months to let you guys know how long my calla lilies actually remained in bloom. Anyways, I hope you found this video insightful, informative, inspiring with the beauty. And easy to follow, so that if you have wondered or been concerned about your ability to grow a calla lily, maybe now you can do so with less concern and a little bit more confidence. Anyways, thank you for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. You know, every Sunday I do a longer video like this one, and then throughout the week I like to do shorter videos. Leave a comment. Love hearing your experiences, reading all of your knowledge that you guys pass on to me. Such a great way to share plant wisdom and create this plant community. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Ciao.